And I'd like to hear from you. This is officially the first call, right? I think so. Oh, there's Ellen arriving. And I want to check in with you where you are at with your space holding. What's your fears? I would really love to know what's your fears about holding space for the heart gym, and if there's any necessity that you'd like to bring into the space.
My fear about space holding is that I'm scared that I will get stuck in the known again. So that when I will start like sourcing the next piece, then so far my result is that then I grabbed something that I've already known. So it's not invented. So my fear is my incompetence in really inventing something new, like in the moment. So I can start speaking from the unknown, but then bringing a practice, get stuck. I get stuck into thinking about how to do it, or what is next. I go in my head, what is next, and then I lose access.
Do you have the sensation, you said that you are able to speak from the unknown? There's a sensation to that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have it in your body or in your bodies?
Like my sense is yes, that
Okay.
I start to feel that something is happening, and still part of me wants to get away from it in my head.
So I guess that what happens is that you start making your now bigger and thinking about the practice and that you
Mm-hmm.
have to do it. And then your emotional fear kicks in and you get out of the
Yes.
connection that you're having with whatever source is pouring through you. So checking if there's something coming up. You could try and notice when it's happening and bring yourself back to your body. Notice the sensation. What's the trigger? What happens? Without trying to do anything about it, just start noticing when it's happening. And then you have the door to navigate back to where you were.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And actually, well, the heart gym, holding space for the heart gym 5 days a week was really the place where I started practicing that without even realizing that I was practicing that. And I can check, like, how did I get there? I remember that at some point I was just, am I going to say exactly the same thing over and over again? Because it's like, it's 5 days. What else can I try? Um, am I just gonna say hello, welcome to the heart gym? In this place, you connect with your heart and you speak from your feelings. And then the space is gone. It's just that. So what I started doing was I have this love for research and checking inside what's happening with me, what's going on, what's the next thing that I'm going to discover and explore. So I started bringing that to the heart gym, to the setting of the context. And
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and I noticed that energetically I was doing something like I was going behind me to my day, and I was pulling something into the space. Like, so this is what's alive in me right now. I've been discovering this, and I was really connecting with the people there. And I was just, and this is what's going on, and all of a sudden there was this, it was like, do you know the thing when people, massage therapists, this thing with the neck? I could sense this happening with me. It was like, and then, and I was like, and the feelings, ta 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 ta, and today we're gonna try this. So it was really this making a bridge with what I'm experiencing, and at some point the crack would happen, and I would just I would let it flow, but also I was really like, I was really glad to share those things with those people, with the people that were coming to the heart gym. Like, how this is happening in my life. I'm really having fun with this, or I'm discovering this, and I want to share it with you. And and they started to become more and more like my family. I feel really sad because I'm letting go of that. So it was really about meeting people that I love very much every day, and then telling them this is going on for me, and then something happened. Oh God.
Thank you, Sonia.
Yeah. Thank you.
I
really,
love the
yeah, go.
I love the example of that. I think it was in our second meeting when before everyone else here had joined. There was just Ellen and I there, and you were talking about people were talking about being in the swamp, and you talked about being in the swamp as well. And the next minute there was this like celebration, like, hey, we're in the swamp, and we're in the swamp together. And it's like, whoa, I hadn't really, it seems like a good example of what you're talking about. This has been going on, and yeah, it ended up about being in a kind of a celebration of what was happening.
And also that came from a space that I had with someone. I was in a space where this person was sharing with me. Well, I think you know him, Gabriel Millinger. I was in a space with him, and it was like, well, I'm doing this, I'm practicing this, I'm experimenting with this, and I'm just like celebrating people's forms. And I was like, how cool is that? And then it started happening in our space, and I was like, well, this is also a skill. It's like recognize when there's a pattern, when there's something like, oh, I've seen this before, I've heard about this today. So this is these are the archetypal forces speaking with you. It's not just, oh, this is just something. No, it's really like a nudge. Hey, are you seeing this happening? So this is how you start checking in with your mage and your witch. So if you notice this, there's something there for you to do. And I had this thing. So, well, maybe this serves this space also. How can I know? So I'm just gonna try it. And then you just bring into the space and you nourish the people that are there with you with something. It's like you are bees, and you're bringing pollen from other places, and you're taking them like and spreading the word or the energetics or whatever that is. So that's also something that you could explore. So even in this call, you could practice like until the end of the call, notice there are things that you have heard before, or someone was speaking with you and it's like, oh, it's interesting. This theme is coming up. It's the second time I'm having a similar conversation, or and check. And if you did it, write it down and start writing down every time you notice this happened. So this is something that is happening in the field. And the field is getting, it's like a sponge, and it's getting like soaked with water. And the more it gets, the water starts pouring out. And when it starts pouring out, you start receiving the things by these patterns. What's happening, Sana?
I was like, oh, is this what is happening?
Yes, it seems so. So it's like it starts coming out and you start getting it. And it's like, and you just pay attention. You just pay attention and then you do something about it. Even creating and sourcing a space. If there's something that is catching your attention, something in particular, how do you think the Five Bodies journey was created? I was getting nudges. I was getting nudges, and I was like, hello, hello, hello. And I was like, okay, I want to do this. But it's something that resonates with me. It's not just something like, oh, I think this is a good idea. It's not that. And so you'll be dancing. You're dancing with life. But you are the interface. So there's something in you that wants to come out. And so you're resonating with this water that starts pouring out from the sponge. And then your attention grabs it because it's like a radio station, and then you see it. Have you ever noticed, like, when you start speaking about, for example, pregnant women, this is the example that comes, and all of a sudden you only see pregnant women everywhere? Have you ever had this experience?
Yes.
It could be something else, but I'm with pregnant women. And so something like that, and grab it and experiment. So for this week, you could try that. Notice the patterns that are showing up, things that you are noticing. Oh, I've heard this before. Oh, interesting. I had this conversation with Renee, or I had this conversation with Ellen or Erlen, whatever. And write it down. And then check if you have an impulse. And if you have an impulse, what's the impulse? So something like this. Does this help, Sana?
Yes, thank you.
Great.
Yeah, and I really like that that word nudging. There's two things you said, Sonia. One the nudging. So last night I was in Sunny's Reclaim Your Voice. I'm an apprentice to her, and I said something a little bit dangerous to a woman, and then for the rest of the night, my center, Renee, Sana had done a centering thing, but I was really aware of how my center went totally to this woman. Like, did she take that? Did she take that as she's wrong? Yeah, and I was like, oh. And then I said it to the group, and I was so glad that I voiced it, because then the woman got an idea about what centering really is all about, because I'd lost my center completely with her. And the other thing, yeah, you wanted to say something, Sonia?
Yes, what you're saying is really an important distinction. It's like your experience is a doorway for other people. That's it.
Yeah.
And when you bring it to a space, there's no way that you can have an idea of how that's going to impact the space. And that's not the point. But if you have the awareness that it's a doorway and you don't attach yourself with the results, then you can actually be a doorway. And that's what happened with you. You, by bringing yourself, and you had the necessity to bring yourself because you are in the journey of reclaiming your voice. So there are different layers. You became a doorway for someone else.
Yes. And the other I feel a lot of emotional fear at being a space holder. Even when I'm holding an EHP, then the fear is often so strong that I freeze or it blocks me. And I'm in a writers group, and when you said about writing, that really landed too. I'm in Millicent's Left to Right group, and I watched the video the last time we did it. We were asked to celebrate something that we'd published, and I was shocked by how my inability to celebrate myself. Like my voice was really dead, flat, and I was really minimizing myself, and it was such a contrast to the other woman in the group. And you said something before. I grabbed it, and I've been writing about it, and I felt it. I felt my sadness about it, and my anger about this adapting that and yet another layer, and my joy too that, oh, here's another layer. And so I've been really just consumed with writing about it in the last couple of days, and I've kind of finished my first draft today. So writing for me is a way that I kind of get, as I was writing today, I was crying, so I can move things in myself with writing, and it gives me clarity, and I so want to be able to bring that to others. Yeah, and I can't always, I'm learning to let my heart speak more, and it's coming with writing too, which is joyful for me.
You could create
What is
something
your
like
main emotional?
like Let Your Heart Write, and hold space for that as a part of the heart gym. That's something you can try.
Yeah.
One of the things that drew me to the Heart Gym was people's legends that they wrote about it. Even though I couldn't attend because it was at 3 o'clock in the morning, I kept reading the messages, and they really landed with me. And it seemed like a really rich and important part of the Heart Gym was the way people told the legends of what happened there.
And what are your fears about holding space for the heart gym?
My fears?
Yeah.
I noticed when I was listening before to what you were talking about, I could understand it in some kind of intellectual way, but I don't have an experience of what you're talking about, and I feel scared about that. I feel scared that it's that it's beyond my current experience, and so there's this sense of it brings up my fear of not knowing how, and yeah, that's the main thing, is that I have a story that I need to know how before I go. Yeah. And I'm scared about looking messy. I'm scared about fucking it up, and yeah. Yeah, I'm scared about the ugliness of making a mess.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you looked at my face and my hair right now and my voice? I'm really messed up. Seriously, I'm speaking and I want to cry. How is that for you? Yeah.
I,
How is that
yeah.
experience for you?
Of seeing you like this, the experience for me is I feel love towards you for being here, for showing up as you are, and for acknowledging that you have symptoms, and it's like I have this going on and I'm here, and so I feel love towards you.
So
Joy.
would you, for the next week, allow yourself to do that for yourself with other people? And as soon before answering. And the invitation is, as soon as you notice that you're going into the emotional fear, you remind yourself of this call and the mess I am right now, and you remember your experience. And your experience is what is valuable, which is what you just shared. So what I heard is that you're glad you're having this experience and that I'm showing up. Why wouldn't other people have that with you? I don't need an answer because it will not be a real answer. It will be reasons. And it's just what I'm saying is that you are lovable. And that's part of the heart gym. That's what the heart gym does. It goes inside of you and shows you how lovable you can be. So I invite you this week to allow yourself to be loved as you are, and practice being a mess around people and showing up. And you don't need to do anything. I'm here with you. I'm asking questions, and then you ask me questions and I answer the questions, and I'm just here. And the most important thing is that I'm not trying to sound better or make myself in a certain way, and I'm not fighting it. So
I see that.
you too, you can have that, and allow yourself to be touched and loved by people. And that's not easy. It takes dying. And it feels really like dying.
Yeah, I have to learn how to die. Wonderful.
Maybe you don't need to learn, you just need to die. I'm having a lot of fun, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you. And write on the group, like how is it going for you? And if you need something, just reach out. All of you.
What is
I
happening
can
right now
already
is
feel-
one of my fears.
Go, Teresa.
Which is the silence that happened between things happen. That's
Between
one of
what?
my fears.
Between what?
Between things happen, there's a silence happen.
Oh, that's an amazing experiment.
Right. Let's
Keep on going, and I'll tell you all about it.
so that's where my fear, unconscious fear kicks in, and I'm speeding. I notice that I can manipulate the space to call others to fill that up. Yeah, so that's my fear in holding spaces, is when that happens. And yeah, even now I go in my mind what to do with that, and how should I say something that so that the speed happens.
And if you go down right now, and your fear creates a tension in your body, and actually that's what you want to avoid, the tension, because it's like and you can sense. And it's not just about your fear, it's also about other people's fears, because you are sensing other people's fears. And it's this, like, waves are clashing, and you're there, it's like, oh my God, oh my God. And you hold it. And so it's also a muscle. You and do it slowly. Like, you start going down to your body, and you sense the tension, and you check how long can I hold it. You can set a timer, and you put 5 seconds, and you stay with the tension for 5 seconds, or you count until 5, and you do that for a week, and then you count until 10. And actually, this is the other thing that I started doing, was to hold the tension. I would open the call, and there was like 20 people, and I was like, ooh. And there was this fear, my fear, and also other people's fears. And I was like, okay, let me try and hold it. And I started breathing in the fear. And I noticed that I started gaining more space inside of me. And also people started relaxing. And then the words would come. So holding space for yourself while you're feeling fear builds matrix. Being in that tension, that's your edge. And when you start holding that, your system is like,
Right.
and you grow. You actually grow. You're going to the gym, the matrix gym or something. And it's actually, when you start doing it and you start connecting with, well, fear is connected to the witchiness and the mages and all of that. When you start doing it and you catch the wave, it's so good. It's ecstatic. It's ecstatic to hold the sensation of the fear, and then you are riding the space. You're riding the space. You're not controlling the space. You just connect yourself with the space, and you're like, you know, there's the sports where people have this wooden board, and they put it in, I don't know, it's like they're the small, say it.
Skimboarding.
Yes, that's it. It's the same thing. It's like you hold attention, like that, and then you launch the board and you go, and it's an amazing sensation, because then people jack in to the space with you. You are the space through which people jack into the space. And when they do that, then you're also jacked into them, and all these sorts of things start coming up through the people. Just like now, you are all bringing your necessity, and we are all just riding the wave, and there's nothing else really to do, just riding the wave, and it's going and it's going, and the space becomes a bowl of acai with granola. That's how it tastes for me. It's so yummy. And so check your experience of what that could look like for you.
Mm. Thank you.
And I suspect you're gonna love fear so much. So much. And ride the wave.
Yeah, there's this freeze that happened, and so far my experience has been just to the fear, to the freeze. So then panic kicks in, and I guess it be with that instead of trying to control, because then I notice that I'm trying to control that something needs to come, and then I'm stuck. Instead of creating space, I'm tightening myself more.
And do you notice if you go out of your body when that happens?
Slyly.
Okay.
There's this it's almost this like I will disappear and then everything will be okay. Yeah. Or like I disappear, no one sees me anymore, like I'm not here. Like whoop, gone. Yeah.
And then you're not holding the space.
Yes.
You get it? Not for yourself, nor for the other people that are there. And instead, if you are able to notice when you start like, oh, I'm going away, and you slowly bring yourself back and you hold the tension, there's nothing else you need to do. The space just holds on to you and you're the space holder. Even if you're not the main space holder, it does not matter. You just hold the tension of the fear. And when you notice, you're speaking things that the other person is also speaking, and you're jacked into the same thing. And so, yeah, it's about experiencing yourself being safe inside of your physical body. And it was not safe for many, many, many times. And so what you can do for yourself now, each one of you, is to give yourself that possibility of you holding space to be inside of your physical bodies, because you're adults now, and you have other tools, and you have people that love you very much. And so you're not alone now. It's different. And from my experience, it's the safest place to be is inside of my body. It does not happen all the time, but when I'm able to hold space for that, it's just I'm home, I'm inside. And then I can connect and I can take care of myself. So it's actually the opposite. The more I go out, the less I can take care of myself and the less I'm safe. Safe in a sense of integrity of my bodies and being in my own authority.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Inês.
Already noticed the love that you were talking about and the connection that happens. And I'm looking forward to more. My main fear is just my edge with overwhelm with everything else that's going on in my life. And for me, that, yeah, how I'm handling that at the moment is to take it slowly and really noticing where my edge is, and to also simply start with coming to hardship, and and then I will know when I'm ready to hold space for that, and to go and hold space for that. Yeah, that is my research and my main fear, as to where's this boundary? Do I have it? Can I feel it? Can I say no? I'm not ready. I have this tendency to just put so much on my plate that it falls off the edge. Yeah.
I suspect that you are an intense woman, and I'm not saying this as a bad thing. Are you an intense woman?
I'm not sure what you mean by that, because I think can mean different things to different people. How I would explain myself more is that I love experiences, and
Oh, I know the question. Are you in love with life? Do you love life? Are you hungry for life?
I know there's a part of me that really goes full out with everything to really push the boundary of what's possible.
Okay, so that's what I mean by intense.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
what happens is you have so much energy. Where are you gonna put it?
Mm.
So you are doing what is possible for you right now, and you're sourcing overwhelm. And that's just the first layer. But after that, there's creation. And that hunger for life is the key. And so I'm glad that you're taking care of yourself and taking it slow, and that you're very aware of it.
Mhm.
And we can have more conversations about this, because I'm also hungry for life, and we can explore that more, even in the group, for everyone. How to shift from creating overwhelm as a source of intensity to burn the energy to creation, to it is amazing to be alive, like, and all the things that
Yeah, it's
can,
amazing to know what's possible.
it's amazing to not know what's possible,
To know
and
what's possible. Yeah. Yeah.
to also not know and checking it out. What is still not possible? That's how hungry I am for life. So, okay, let's unleash the wild horse. Yeah.
Sonia, can you say again? You said something like how to create overwhelm as a source of intensity, and then is that what you
Yeah.
said?
Yes. So from overwhelm is a way to put intensity in one's life.
Mhm.
And it has purposes and all other layers, but it's because there's a lot of energy. And what are you going to do with all that energy? And so then there's overwhelm, or addictions, or enmeshment, or passion. That's
Mhm.
a way that sensitive beings that are really glad to be alive and that are creators, that's one of the ways they know how to experience that hunger for intensity, except it's not really nourishing the being.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's not really nourishing the being.
Yeah.
And
Like releasing the pressure.
yeah. And then the other part is the creation part. And for example, there are 9 people in this call. It's intense to hold space for 9 people. And this intensity nourishes my being. And there's intensity. So there's creation happening. That's what I'm talking about. It's like it's a shift from sourcing that intensity in an ordinary level, an unconscious level, and moving into playing full out. And can be by holding space, it can be by, I don't know, whatever it is, that creating a game world, building a game world. And basically you start moving your attention from whatever unconscious thing you're creating to other things, like with a plant. This is something you could try as an experiment, is to have a plant, choose a plant, a flower or something, and you take 5 minutes each day and you just stay with the plant and you connect with the plant. Your attention is fully in the plant. When you notice your attention going somewhere else, you bring it to the plant. Your attention is what nourishes, for example, your game world. And it's not really about doing things. Yes, there is the doing, but it's not the beginning point. The beginning point is this love and attention that you're placing into something or someone. And your attention is very connected with your power of creation. And so when you're putting your attention, for example, into something that is not working, but not trying to really find a solution, but it's just like, this is not working, this is not working, this is not working. You are sourcing more of that, you are loving that. And so if you could shift to something else slowly, because it's a practice. It's like, I've been doing that for 43 years. So moving my attention from that to that other thing, it takes practice. So you could practice also that and then after the plant, you choose something that you really care about and that scares you, that you'd really love to do. And you just start thinking about that for like 1 minute a day. It could be the heart gym, the New Zealand heart gym. It could be building your circle, but make it small, because in the beginning, the voices and all of that, they will jump in. And so make it really small so that you can really focus this loving, caring attention. It's like caring for a baby. Like if you go to a baby and if you're really present and you're gonna change its diaper, and you go very slowly, you take those things, you take off the diaper, you lift up the legs, you put the other one under it because you don't want the baby's butt to be in the cold or whatever, and then you put it down and you gently clean it up. And you do that with your game world or with whatever you want to create in your life. You love it, you clean it up, you take the diaper, you put a new diaper, and you keep on going. And it's much more simpler than people think. Just feed it and practice with the plant to start and see what happens with the plant. Maybe you'll get a surprise. I don't know.
I just want to check the time before I check in. What time are we finishing?
So I would say 10 more minutes.
Okay.
10 more minutes. And
Okay.
there's still Arlen, Helen, and Renee, and
Yep.
you don't need to speak if you don't want to.
Yeah. I have been playing full out lately, and I'm really tired right now. And I love that because I'm in the 5 body. I've just curled up on the bed and made myself really comfortable, and I've had dinner, and I'm in the, I don't feel too much fear about holding space right now for the heart gym. And I had this experience last night when I did my first EHP about being burned at the stake as a witch. And I discovered that all my fear was like around me, was outside of me. And during the process, I let my fear come in, and I felt it very strongly last night. And I think I need my fear more when I'm holding space. And I'm glad to have had that experience to give me that, but it's not the kind of fear that puts me off. And I feel very attracted to the heart gym because I smell wisdom and practice combined. And I love that. So I'm very glad to be here and very tired.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My fear of holding space for the heart gym comes from a lot of voices saying, you need to know what you're doing and people will judge me, and there could be a wrong or right. And I'm so grateful for hearing what I heard so far in the group from you, Sonia, as well too. And it's one of those nudges that comes to me. Where do I put my attention? And really, I have it even on my fridge hanging. My energy gets where my attention goes. It's just such a sentence that really that really does something with me at the moment. And yeah, I'm hearing it. It's landing, and this is where I am.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank
you. Would you practice during this week to speak more with different people while connected with your fear without knowing what you're going to say? Would you try that?
Yes. And I need to, yes. Yes. I'm still trying to let that trickle through somehow.
I had the feeling you were going to say, but I need to know what I'm going to say.
Well, it's a bit like the penny going through honey. It takes a little while to land.
You could try like with the people here and have like a 5-minute conversation, just 5 minutes, and you just speak like you were doing just now, slowly, the speed that you're holding, and you let it come, and the other person just holds space for you to speak without trying to make any sense or anything at all. You'll just be witnessed in your speaking. And there may be doorways coming up for you about that. If you're freaking out, take the hand out of the water and say, I'm freaking out. And someone will hold your hand.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, I will do that.
I was a whole lot landed in me already tonight in this conversation about the hunger for life and intensity. This like almost like addiction and craving intensity getting in the way of creation. Or at least that's how it landed in me. And I'm in a place where I'm sitting here saying, actually, I've stepped back from space holding right now because I'm holding space for myself in a way that I never have before. And I feel protective of that space right now. It's a space of learning that I had ignored. And it feels highly necessary right now for me to move forward. And I feel scared. Yeah, I feel disconnected from the part of me that is a space holder. And yeah, and I notice it's like, oh, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? Get out, you know, and knowing that actually there's a very good reason for me to be here and I want to be. But in this moment, I'm in an experience of holding space for myself, and everything else has sort of stopped. And this what you were talking about with the intensity and the overwhelm, this is what I'm stepping out of, and I don't know how to. I'm learning how to make that switch that you were talking about between the overwhelm and the kind of, for me, it's a difference between leaning forward and kind of leaning backward. And I'm learning to lean backward a little bit, and it's remarkable, and it's really scary, and I'm in a big unknown right now. And so I see myself in a room of people I love and respect as space holders, and right now I don't consider myself a space holder here, but I will be back online at some point. But I would like to continue to be in this space, learning and growing with you all. And I also I want to be able to leap in with both feet into the unknown and have the unknown speak through me, because I love that space. And surfing. But right now it's something else is happening in me, for me. It's me.
Marilyn,
Go
uh,
ahead.
are you aware, even though you don't consider yourself a space holder right now, that you have held the space very strongly for the last few minutes as you've been speaking? Are you aware of that?
Can you say more?
Well, I feel,
Renee,
yes,
say exactly the same thing again and land it in Erlen's heart. And instead of asking the question, say, you did this.
you are holding me in the palm of your hand as you speak.
And let it in.
Being with yourself holds me in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, let it move through you. Yeah. I have a proposal for you, Erlen. Just keep on letting it go through you. Would you document what you're discovering in holding space for yourself?
I have been, yes.
Would you start sharing it?
I have a Telegram team and I've been documenting a lot there. And I'm happy to share it here as well.
My invitation is for something else.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that what you're doing is Harchim work. And so most people are not feeling, they're speaking from their mind about feelings. And one of the things that keeps on coming up at Harchim is to come back to the body and hold space for oneself. Without that, it's not possible to feel and to hold space for others to feel. And you're doing that. So what I'm inviting you to do is to share that with the Harchim community, not just this team, but also the village. Yeah. Would you consider that? And
Yes.
let me know what you decide.
I will.
Take your
Yes.
time, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for that, Renee and Sonia. Thank you for that reframing. Because there's a part of me that thinks I'm being very selfish and self-indulgent, and because I have such a desire to reach out and to pull in feels unnatural. Yeah.
Thank you. And it's 1 minute to 9 here. And there are already people waiting to join the Harchim. So I'm going to stop the recording. If you are going to stay, just go ahead. If you have to